Politics is changing fast and every decision shapes our future. In today's video, we're breaking down the latest headlines, the key players, and what it all means for you. Whether you're here to stay informed or spark debate, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. President Trump is determined to ensure that every car sold in the United States is manufactured domestically. He has warned that if a satisfactory trade agreement with Canada cannot be reached, the U.S. will impose severe tariffs on Canadian-made vehicles, potentially ranging from 50 to 100%. This approach is part of a broader strategy aimed at bolstering American manufacturing, safeguarding domestic jobs, and reducing dependency on foreign imports. By leveraging the threat of steep tariffs, the administration seeks to compel U.S. automakers to relocate production back to American soil, thereby strengthening the domestic auto industry. This move is intended not only to protect jobs but also to foster an environment of increased local investment and innovation in the manufacturing sector. The underlying goal is to create a more self-reliant industrial base that can better compete in the global market. At its core, the policy emphasizes economic nationalism, prioritizing the interests of U.S. workers and companies. The proposed tariffs on Canadian vehicles serve as a negotiating tool designed to pressure trade partners into agreements that benefit American industry. In doing so, the administration aims to rebalance trade dynamics and ensure that the economic benefits of auto production remain within the United States. Ultimately, the domestic production goal reflects a vision of revitalized American industry, where manufacturing excellence and job creation are central to national prosperity. While the U.S. auto industry could theoretically function without Canadian integration, shifting production entirely to domestic soil presents significant challenges. The current system benefits from a well-established cross-border supply chain where Canadian suppliers offer specialized expertise and cost advantages that have been honed over decades. Relocating production would require constructing new manufacturing facilities, a process that demands substantial financial investment and several years to complete. Moreover, the U.S. faces a shortage of skilled labor in this sector, which means that even with new plants, finding or training workers to meet the necessary standards would be a major hurdle. This transition would disrupt the intricate network of logistics that currently streamlines the production process. The efficiency achieved through years of cross-border cooperation, where parts often make multiple trips between Canada and the U.S., would be lost, leading to potential delays and increased production costs. Such disruptions could result in higher vehicle prices for consumers and a temporary decline in overall industry productivity. In essence, while decoupling from Canada is possible in theory, the real-world implications are severe. The process would be extremely disruptive, expensive, and time-consuming, underscoring the deep interdependence that has been built into the North American auto industry over decades. In the early stages of President Donald Trump's administration, his aggressive trade policies have introduced significant uncertainty into both domestic and global economies. The administration has threatened to impose tariffs exceeding 25% on imports of automobiles, semiconductors, and pharmaceuticals. Specifically, a 10% tariff has already been applied to Chinese imports, with impending 25% tariffs on goods from Canada and Mexico. These measures aim to bolster domestic production and address trade imbalances. Economists and industry leaders express concern that such tariffs could exacerbate inflationary pressures. Taiwan's Vanguard International Semiconductor, for instance, warns that U.S. tariffs on imported chips might fuel inflation and impede global economic growth. While Vanguard anticipates minimal direct impact on its operations, the broader economic consequences could be substantial. The Federal Reserve shares these apprehensions. Richmond Federal Reserve President Tom Barkin advocates for a cautious approach to monetary policy amidst prevailing uncertainties. He emphasizes the necessity of maintaining moderately restrictive interest rates until inflation aligns with the Fed's 2% target, highlighting concerns that trade policies, including rising tariffs, could intensify price pressures. Consumer sentiment appears to reflect these uncertainties, with the latest index of consumer confidence dropping to an 8-month low of 98.3. Market volatility has also escalated in recent months, mirroring investor apprehensions. While the effectiveness of the administration's trade policies remains a topic of debate, the prevailing uncertainty underscores the importance of vigilant financial planning and adaptability in an evolving economic landscape. In February 2025, U.S. consumer confidence experienced its sharpest decline in 3.5 years, with the Conference Board's index falling 7 points to 98.3, the lowest since June 2024. This downturn is largely attributed to concerns over President Donald Trump's economic policies, particularly the imposition of tariffs and unprecedented federal worker layoffs. The survey highlighted that discussions about the current administration's policies were prevalent among respondents. The administration has implemented a 10% tariff on Chinese imports and plans to introduce a 25% levy on goods from Mexico and Canada. Additionally, tariffs on steel and aluminum imports have been increased to 25%. These trade measures have been identified as major concerns in various surveys of households and businesses. Economists also point to the unprecedented layoffs of federal government workers as a factor affecting consumer sentiment. The Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk, has initiated mass terminations, contributing to public anxiety about economic stability. Christopher Rupke, chief economist at FWD Bonds, noted that such actions are instilling significant fear among consumers, potentially leading to reduced spending and an economic slowdown in the first quarter. The decline in confidence was observed across all age groups, with the 35 to 55 cohort experiencing sharp decreases. Inflation expectations have also surged, reaching 6%, the highest since May 2023. This combination of declining confidence and rising inflation suggests potential risks to consumer spending, the primary driver of the U.S. economy. In response to these developments, financial markets have shown increased volatility, Treasury yields have fallen to new lows, and major stock indices have experienced declines, reflecting investor concerns about the potential for a recession. As the administration continues to pursue its trade and economic policies, close monitoring of consumer sentiment and spending patterns will be essential to gauge the broader impact on economic growth. President Donald Trump has initiated an investigation into potential tariffs on copper imports, aiming to revitalize domestic production of a metal essential for industries such as electric vehicles, defense, and infrastructure. The move is part of a broader effort to counter China's growing influence in the global copper market. The probe, led by Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, falls under Section 232 of the Trade Expansion Act of 1962, the same law used in Trump's first term to impose 25% tariffs on steel and aluminum. A White House official indicated that while the final tariff rate remains undetermined, the administration favors tariffs over quotas. This latest action continues Trump's aggressive trade policies, which have shifted U.S. economic strategy away from long-standing free trade agreements. The administration has already imposed a 10% tariff on all Chinese imports, with a 25% duty on goods from Canada and Mexico set to take effect next week. Additional levies on steel, aluminum, and automobiles are also being developed. The surge in tariffs has impacted market sentiment, contributing to a decline in consumer confidence. The Conference Board recently reported the largest drop in consumer confidence in over 3 years, as households anticipate a rise in inflation. Wall Street reflected similar concerns, with major stock indices falling for a fourth consecutive day. However, the policy shift has benefited certain sectors. Shares of Freeport-McMoRan, the largest U.S. copper producer, surged 5% in after-hours trading. Meanwhile, Antofagasta, a London-based mining firm, has yet to comment on the administration's decision. As Trump advances his economic agenda, the administration also plans to ease regulations to stimulate domestic growth, reinforcing the shift toward protectionist trade policies. The U.S. economy faces mounting pressure as impending tariffs and sweeping government layoffs raise concerns about inflation and economic growth. New tariffs on automobiles, semiconductors, and pharmaceuticals are expected to drive up consumer prices, adding to inflationary strain. Economists warn that these trade policies could further burden households already struggling with rising costs. Simultaneously, the Department of Government Efficiency, led by Elon Musk and established under President Donald Trump to reduce public spending, has dismissed tens of thousands of federal employees, primarily those on probation. These layoffs, coupled with spending cuts affecting federal contractors, could weaken economic activity and lead to job losses in the private sector. Since September, the Fed has lowered interest rates by 100 basis points, after previously raising them by 5.25 percentage points in 2022 and 2023 to curb inflation. However, with inflation expectations rising to 6%, the highest since May 2023, analysts predict a cautious approach to further rate cuts. Market forecasts suggest a high probability of a rate cut in June, with another reduction possible in September. Consumer confidence continues to weaken. The labor market differential, an indicator of job availability, fell for the second consecutive month, signaling potential employment challenges. Additionally, plans to purchase vehicles and major household appliances declined, while spending shifted toward personal and healthcare services. Vacation plans also saw a downturn. Despite expectations that President Donald Trump's policies would benefit cryptocurrency markets, Bitcoin is facing downward pressure, risking a drop towards $70,000. Investors had anticipated a more favorable regulatory environment under Trump, who has signaled support for digital assets. However, broader market conditions and external economic factors have overshadowed these expectations, leading to volatility in Bitcoin's value. Recent fluctuations in the cryptocurrency market have been influenced by tightening financial conditions and uncertainty surrounding upcoming Federal Reserve decisions. While some analysts initially predicted that Trump's pro-business stance would drive increased institutional investment in digital currencies, rising interest rates and inflation concerns have dampened enthusiasm. Bitcoin, which had surged earlier in the year, has struggled to maintain momentum. Technical indicators suggest that if the cryptocurrency fails to hold key support levels, it could experience a significant pullback. Market analysts are closely monitoring price movements to determine whether Bitcoin can regain stability, or if further declines are imminent. Additionally, regulatory uncertainties continue to weigh on sentiment. While Trump's administration has taken a less restrictive approach compared to previous leadership, ongoing debates about crypto oversight and taxation remain a concern for investors. The lack of clear regulatory frameworks has contributed to caution in the market. Despite these challenges, some experts believe that long-term adoption trends will ultimately support Bitcoin's value. However, in the short term, macroeconomic pressures and investor sentiment will likely dictate price movements. As Bitcoin approaches critical levels, the coming weeks will be crucial in determining whether the cryptocurrency stabilizes or faces further declines amid shifting economic and political conditions. That's it for today's deep dive into the latest political developments. Whether you agree or disagree, the conversation doesn't stop here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Stay informed, stay engaged, and I'll see you in the next one. Let me know if you want a different tone, more serious, engaging, or even humorous.